Hey everybody, NEWBRO here. Today I'm going to be bringing you 7 things that you need to know about unlocking the Orion Camo in Modern Warfare 2. Getting right into it with tip number 1, don't forget camos while you're leveling your guns. This is definitely the most obvious tip on the list, but before you even start thinking about knocking out your platinum camos in particular, I strongly recommend leveling up all of the weapons first. You're going to need to get at least 51 guns maxed at some point regardless, so you might as well just get all the attachments and guns unlocked right off the bat before you start worrying about getting your platinum camos. That extra build variety is going to be extremely helpful for getting those long shots knocked out. Now with that being said, don't neglect your challenges while you're leveling your guns. Speaking from experience, there aren't many things more frustrating than getting your platinum ARs done than switching over to SMGs and realizing that somehow half the guns have 2 or 3 challenges left before you could even start working on gold. For instance, the MX9 requires both crouched and mounted kills, both of which I had exactly 0 of when I started working on platinum SMGs after I maxed everything out. A little side trick here, if you use a bipod, you can actually prone out anywhere and mount the bipod on the ground to kill 2 birds and 1 asshole with 1 stone. It might feel like it's a little bit inconvenient and inefficient to do the challenges while you're leveling, but it'll feel even more inconvenient when the only thing standing between you and platinum in a class is 2 or 3 dumb challenges per gun, especially when one of them is 50 kills with a suppressor, which you could have done without even trying. In the grand scheme of things, getting a few crouched, mounted, or prone kills isn't really going to slow down your leveling that much, but it's going to get rid of a whole lot of frustration later on. Trust me, I wish I had done this. Moving on to tip number 2, don't spam decoy grenades. Now look, I get it. Decoy grenades made things a lot easier leveling guns up. I think I was getting an extra 1800 to 2000 XP a game just from using decoys. But the thing is, decoy grenades contribute fairly heavily to score per minute, which is factored into skill-based matchmaking. The problem is your gameplay skill isn't involved in that extra score per minute at all, and the end result could be it bumping you into lobbies that you have no business playing in. That's going to make getting your actual camo challenges done while you're leveling up way harder. And if you don't believe me, just cut out your decoy grenades for 5 or 6 games and see the difference it makes in your matchmaking. And along the same lines, I'd actually advise against using lethal kill streaks until after the camo grind. All those lethal kill streaks are doing is adding extra kills to your kill-death ratio and making the matchmaking algorithm think that you're better than you are. I personally ran UAV, counter UAV, and advanced UAV the entire way up, and honestly, they probably did more for me than an SAE ever could anyway. Before I get into number 3, if you've made it this far, go ahead and drop me a like and maybe a sub. After all, it's really the least you can do after I slaved away for hours making this video just for you, Tyler from California. Yeah, I know you're watching. Also, let me know in the comments if there's any weapons that you're struggling with and I'll crank out a video on it because I've used every weapon at least like twice. And with that out of the way, on to tip number 3. Tier 1 is king for long shots. Look, for me personally, long shots were definitely the worst part of the Orion grind. Most of the weapons in the game require long shot kills at various ranges, and most of them can't really compete at longer ranges. Tier 1 makes long range engagements a little bit more even, especially with the massive headshot multiplier. Weapons like shotguns, SMGs, and pistols are going to be way easier in Tier 1. Also, if you don't have all the sight lines and ranges down yet, make sure to use an optic that gives you a target range indicator. That way you know you aren't wasting your time because you won't get a long shot notification in Tier 1. Also, here's an awesome long shot range chart I found on Reddit posted by user Peacekeeper. So big shout out to Peacekeeper and TimeLife X3. This resource was crazy helpful during the grind. Make sure and screenshot that, write it down, or go to the original Reddit post. And like I said, you can use one of those target range indicator optics to kind of figure out where the sight lines actually are, where the ranges are. Another quick side tip, deployable cover helps out a lot on some of the more open long shot corridors because you basically just have a pocket head glitch that people won't automatically know to be looking for as they come around a sight line. Now for tip number 4, don't forget select fire. Using select fire modes can be just as important to long shots as playing in Tier 1. A lot of the weapons that perform poorly at range are because they have bad recoil, but a good number of those weapons also have a select fire mode that you can use with either left on the D-pad or I think the B button on mouse and keyboard, but don't quote me on that. And that'll bring it into a single shot or a burst fire mode. That's going to make your life a whole lot easier, especially in Tier 1 where every bullet counts. I found that most of the time I'd rather get 2 rounds off quickly and accurately than dumping 25 down and just hoping that the recoil pattern's nice to me. And this is really helpful when you're battling down a sight line against a head glitch. I know it's going to feel kind of weird to put an SMG into single fire mode, but trust me, it helps out so much. And like I said, there are a ton of guns that have this option, so you might as well just check if you're having trouble. On to tip number 5, take advantage of the 24/7 playlists. As of this recording, Shoot House is currently active 24/7 in-game, and shipment should be live about the time that this video comes out, so this is a great time to knock out weapon challenges. Both of these maps have people crammed much closer than the base maps. Looking at you, Santa Senna, asking me to run 200 fucking meters to the next hardpoint. Fuck. Double kill and 3 kill streak challenges especially are a breeze here, but the real benefit is your melees. And yes, before you ask, I do count launchers as melees, because you're going to be spending less time sprinting around looking for people to smack around with your riot shield. Even if those 2 maps aren't in the 24/7 pool while you're watching watching this video, I find it a lot easier to drop into the same map and know roughly what to expect and where to go every time when I'm working on a specific challenge. Nothing is worse than needing to get, well, any sort of kills really, and dropping into Santa Senna only to have to sprint across the map every time the hardpoint changes. Seriously, if you get stuck on Santa Senna, just back out. It's about sending a message. We can't let them bully us with shitty maps like this. Now on to tip number 6. Don't do it if you don't have to. For Polyatomic and Orion, you only need 51 Platinum and Polyatomic challenges completed respectively. Now the astute among you may have noticed we currently have 54 weapons in the game, with a 55th dropping in a few hours with Season 1 Reloaded. This means that by the time this video is out, you'll be able to completely skip launchers and still unlock Orion. Or you could do one launcher and skip the Riot Shield, but Riot Shield is the Apex S tier weapon this year, so I don't know why you'd want to do that. Now for me personally, Platinum launchers was the first full category of camos I did during week 1 of the game, and boy do I feel silly now. For Orion though, I only did one launcher's Polyatomic challenge, praise be to the mighty Pila, and I don't regret it at all. For those of you watching this post Season 1 Reloaded though, trust me, just skip the launchers and do the Battle Pass and DMZ guns. The only one that might be sort of a struggle is the M13, but at this point you can generally hop in any comment section on YouTube or Reddit and get someone to drop it for you, and even if you're not feeling that, just queue into DMZ with a squad fill feature ticked on and ask around. I was beating my head against the Camos solo for like 2 hours trying to get extracted with the gun, and finally after somebody dropped me at the exfil and took it from me, I said, you know what, screw it, I'm gonna get on with squad fill on and just see what people want to do. Sure enough, my first game with squad fill on, I drop in, ask people if they want to hit the chemist, and this guy drops his secondary M13, escorts me to the extract, and makes sure I get away with the M13. And if squad fill worked for my surly ass, it's probably gonna work for you too. Even if nobody wants to drop it, you can still hunt down the chemist. I would rather do the whole process over again than do the launchers. For my final tip, and this is the one that's gonna get me in trouble probably, weaponize SBMM. Look, I'm not saying to reverse boost, but what I am saying is SBMM is here, so we might as well learn to game the system. I found myself getting really frustrated doing the 3-kill challenges because I was playing in, well, fairly balanced and competitive lobbies. And I like playing in those lobbies, but my recommendation is as soon as you feel yourself wringing out your controller like a wet rag after a 2-kill streak death,
It's really wet.
RIP to my Walmart controller, I know you weren't designed to be ripped in half like that, otherwise it wouldn't have been so easy. Just calmly back out of your lobby and get into a new game with a new objective. So for me, rather than getting 3 kill streaks back to back, my goal became to get behind the enemy and follow them for as long as possible without them noticing. Or maybe to style on them by diving, sliding, going prone, and otherwise dodging shots for as long as possible. Now sure, you're probably going to go 2 and 25, say exactly 5 games in a row because that's how far back the SBMM algorithm looks to match you with other players. But at the end of those 5 games, you'll be a lot less stressed out because you just spent exactly 5 games in a row, because that's how far back the SBMM algorithm looks to match with other players, having fun with no expectations. From there, your next few games are going to be less competitive, and you're going to find it much easier to string those kills together for challenges. Now keep in mind, I'm not saying to get another console and another copy of the game and build a Smurf account and then join in on that Smurf account, because that is against the terms of service and I actually really don't believe in that. But the algorithm is dynamic and it's based on your recent performance, so they can't really get that mad if we game the system a little bit. Doing this, I was able to very comfortably and consistently get all 10 3-kill streaks on 1 to 2 guns per game. And during my entire 2.5 night gold grind, I only found myself getting pissed off about 2 times after I started employing this tactic, and that's a big improvement over quite literally twisting a controller into a less than operable state. Now you might be thinking, but my KD ratio, NEWBRO. And look, Clyde, I get it, but nobody would care about your KD in multiplayer even if they could somehow magically see it. So just keep telling people you have a 2.3 KD, because what are they going to do? Check? The SBMM is so strong this year that even most pro players are hovering around a 1.3 to 1.5 in regular matchmaking. If you're level 250 with 75,000 kills and a 2+ KD, you're statistically likely to be either cheating or reverse boosting with multiple accounts. And that's really all there is to it. Now before you get in the comments going, I have a 2.4 KD, I get it. Maybe you're just really good. I said statistically likely to be either cheating or reverse boosting, not guaranteed to be cheating or reverse boosting. But the algorithm wants everybody to be as close to a 1.0 KD as possible this year, and it's really good at its job. So don't worry about your KD. Besides, we have 2 years on this game. Your KD is going to recover from a little bit of early finagling to get the Orion grind done. Anyway, that's all I have for today, folks. If you made it this far, it means you liked the video and you should definitely subscribe for more. And until next time, peace.